Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. It's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
In the capital city. There we go. Couldn't quite hear myself. Welcome in. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. We'll be with you till 3 o'clock from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer, and we got a lot of things messed up here. Microphone won't stand up. Sound's coming in weird, but we're going to get you going here. We're going to get you through 2 hours here. Lots to get to over the next 2 hours. We'll check in on the World Cup score here and there, but not going to be a very big focus here for us. Got Jaden Daniels talk here coming up. Auburn's hired Hugh Freeze. I want to talk about that in the next segment. Glenn West of Go 247 on LSU football and basketball. Pete Futek, college football news. A lot going on around the world of college football. We'll talk with Pete at 2 o'clock. Of course, college football rankings coming out tonight. Not of very much interest to LSU, but I do have some thoughts on it in Sharif Ishaq. Saints and Pels talk in the second hour. As I said, I'm going to start here with Jaden Daniels. I will be out on Thursday. I will also not be going to Atlanta, so Hester and Hanny will fill in for me in my time slot on Friday. So I can kind of empty the clip here for the next 2 hours, next 4 hours of local radio. At times when LSU's playing a game on a Saturday, diving too deep into the weeds on a Tuesday will maybe run you out of material by the time you get to Friday. Not the case with me. So I want to start with this game in Atlanta. Got A&M in the rearview mirror. I think it's pretty safe to say that this Tiger team does as well. Sometimes it's tough to shake the fact that you can't play for a national championship. A lot of teams have to do that in October and November. LSU now moves into December, now having to shake it. And that's a great position to have been in. Unfortunately, it's not a great position to be in right this very second. But you still got a chance to go play for a conference title. You're going to go into a gorgeous professional stadium. You're going to play the most powerful brand in the sport right this second. And it's going to be full because Georgia's going to put a lot of people in that dome on Saturday. So you ought to have the juices flowing pretty good like A&M did on Saturday. Hopefully LSU can come to play. And one of the guys that's going to have to come to play is Jaden Daniels. I'm not 100% certain what the extent of this lower extremity injury is, whether it's ankle, foot, whatever. It doesn't feel great. He was a little bit gimpy in A&M. He was in a walking boot. They were going to do some tests, make sure he could get on his tiptoes over the next couple of days, get him some mental reps, and throw a little bit, and be ready to go for Saturday. And obviously, for a quarterback who plays the game the way that Jaden Daniels does, having an injury to your foot or ankle is not ideal. He uses his legs as much as any quarterback in the country outside of the service academies. It is a massive part of what he does. And if he's not able to do that at the highest level, it really compromises what he can do. Now, I watched Devon Achane take 38 carries on a bad ankle, and it looked pretty good to me on Saturday. So I won't rule anything out at this point, but just obviously stating the obvious, him being compromised in any way is a big detriment to LSU's offense. But what does Jaden Daniels have to do in this game? Well, he's gonna have to play great. That goes without saying. But this deal where he gets back there and pats the ball and then tries to take off, that works great when Florida State's not prepared for it. And that can work great if Mississippi State's not quite ready for it. And that can work great because UAB can't stop it. But this Georgia team knows exactly what LSU is trying to do, and they've got horses on that defense that can run with Jaden Daniels on that turf, and that will make it very difficult for him to go nuts running the football. He's going to have to win a lot from the pocket. Now, that doesn't mean he can't use his quickness and legs to pick up some yardage. But at times this year, Florida State, namely, that was 4 months ago, I get it, but Florida State, namely, that was pretty much it. He was just taking off trying to get chunk plays. Georgia's going to get that figured out. They're not going to be undisciplined, and they have freak athletes. This is the best defense in the conference by a mile. So Daniels can use his legs, but he's going to have to win at times from the pocket. And when has he done that? He's done that a couple of times this year. He certainly did it against Florida. Go back. If you want to feel better about LSU's chances on Saturday, go watch the Florida tape on YouTube. Jaden Daniels plays from the pocket more that day than he did at any other time. He threw the ball up and gave Brian Thomas a chance to go make a play. He does in the end zone, goes and makes a play. He gets a free play. Florida jumps off sides, very obvious. So he just chucks it from the pocket down there to Jeray Jenkins, who separates and makes a catch and scores. And you go, yeah, well, you can't count on a free play. No, you can't. But you can take a shot. You don't need a free play to hit your back foot and throw it down there. Because here's the deal. Where is LSU comparable talent-wise to Georgia when LSU's offense is on the field and Georgia's defense is on the field? Where's the talent comparable? Is it in the trenches, front seven? I don't think so. I think LSU's young. I think they've moved a lot of guys around. I think they've been okay a lot. I don't think they're to the level Georgia is with Jalen Carter and that crew up front. And when I say that, I don't mean LSU has no chance to block Georgia. I don't mean that. I think they're going to have to work hard. They're going to get beat some. I think they'll win their fair share. But over the course of 60 minutes of action, Georgia's going to be a little tough to handle up front, especially at the linebacker spot, and especially when you look at LSU's running backs who haven't been awesome this year. At times, Josh Williams has made some plays. At times, John Emery has made some plays. At times, Noah Cain has run hard. Are they as good as Georgia up front? No, they're not. Are they as good on the outside? The talent's comparable. Kayshon Boutte's going to play in the NFL. Malik Neighbors going to play in the NFL. Brian Thomas going to play in the NFL. So you equalize things to a degree once you get out wide. Closer you get in? No. More you try to just play backyard football? No. Give your guys a shot on the outside. I will go as far as to say this. LSU will not win this game if Jaden Daniels doesn't throw an interception. Little bit of hyperbole, but here's what it's rooted in. LSU's not going to win this game 44-41. You can't get in a track meet with Georgia. If your defense can't show up and hold them in the 20s, it's not going to happen. So at that point, if your defense can't hold Georgia in the 20s, it's a moot point to me. Nothing we talk about offensively for LSU even matters. So maybe if you take a shot and they get you, you just live to play again. Trust that your defense can slow down the same offense that Kentucky slowed down and Missouri slowed down. We'll see. But Jaden Daniels is going to have to be aggressive with the football. That's the bottom line. Crossing route, you got one step, tight window, go. Throw the football. Throw it. Let your guys have a chance. Because if you can't get your best players involved in this game against the best team, you can't win. You can't read option, play patty cake in the backfield, run around, try to pick it. No, it's not going to work. Now, unless you put a wrinkle in against Alabama, it's not something we had seen a ton of. They did some read option with a little get Jaden Daniels on the edge, moving towards the line of scrimmage, and at times he was able to dump the ball out to Mason Taylor or rip it on some sort of out route to the outside. There was some option involved in that. And wrinkles are great. This is not an overarching theme of every play you've got to run. I realize you got to run the ball some. I realize Jaden Daniels is going to have to run the ball some. You're going to have to run some. You're going to do a lot of things. But in the biggest plays of the game, LSU's going to have to try to let Kayshon Boutte go make a play. He's as good as everybody wearing red and black over there. Everybody. So is Malik Neighbors. Go to the Alabama game. Just took a shot down the sideline. Jeray Jenkins went up and made a ridiculous catch down the right sideline. You took a shot to Mason Taylor from outside about the 20-yard line. He went up over two guys and made a catch. If you try to wait for everyone to break wide open, or you try to just run the ball and punt, you can't win like that. Let your best players have a chance. And that's what it's going to take. and this is not a new narrative. This is not something we just cooked up. But I saw far too much in Fayetteville and College Station of standing back there, patting the football, looking. And at times the offensive line held up a long time. But that's not the way you're going to be able to move an efficient offense, is let everybody run their route. Everybody drops in zone. Nobody sprung wide open, so you never delivered the ball. Now all of a sudden it's street ball. Well, guess what? Georgia's going to have at least one guy who runs a 4-5 that's going to be closing when you try to take off and run. So you got to run the ball when you can, but Georgia's really tough against the run. You got to use your legs some because that's what your best part of your game is. But if you're going to win, you're going to have to get outside your comfort zone. If you heard Charlie's show a little bit earlier, he said, look, if LSU plays their game and Georgia plays their game, Georgia's going to win. So you got to step out of your game. What better comfort blanket than the receivers LSU has brought into this program? Got to go ahead and give those guys a shot. And if they pick you, so be it. Because, again, I just don't think that it matters if your defense isn't going to stop them. You're going to have to lean on the defense a little bit. You don't have to take a shot when you're on your own 5. You got to take a shot when you're on your own 40. You got to take a shot when it's 2nd and 1 and you just cross midfield. So we'll see if Jaden Daniels is comfortable enough to do that. You would think maybe in this game, LSU would play with a little freedom. That's not kind of the cliche when you're the underdog. How about a little freedom? You don't have anything to lose. You lost it all last week. All gone. It's gone. So who cares if they intercept it at the Georgia 10? They got to go 90. Let's try. Hopefully that's being coached a little bit. I think Jaden Daniels can do it. It's just a matter of will he give it a shot as opposed to relying on those legs. So I got a ton to talk about when it comes to LSU and Georgia here on this Tuesday. Very much looking forward to hanging out with you for the next couple hours. Glenn West with us in 20 minutes from right now. Want to give congratulations to Joseph Corson of Baton Rouge. Joseph, our Week 13 winner in the 2022 Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em Contest, wins $50 in Twin Peaks gift card. Want to thank everyone for participating in the 2022 Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em with Twin Peaks and us over here at 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. All right, they got a new coach on the Plains. I've got my thoughts on the hiring process and the thoughts on what I think those results are going to be in the freeze era over there at Auburn. That's next on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
LWCC is Louisiana Loyal. They're elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana every single month here on 104.5 ESPN. Molly Kimball is our champion in November. In 2013, she created Eat Fit as a resource for all things wellness. It's a nonprofit initiative that works to make the healthy choice an easy choice through collaborative partnerships with restaurants, markets, and other food service establishments. To this date, over 500 program partners with Eat Fit across the state. If you sit down in a restaurant here in Louisiana and you see that Eat Fit logo right there on the menu, that's Molly Kimball and her team making sure you eat good and healthy. That's her initiative over there at Eat Fit. If you know a person, a nonprofit, some entity that is doing great things in the state of Louisiana, we really encourage you to go to lwcc.com/loyal, lwcc.com/loyal, and nominate them to be a champion of Louisiana so we can tell their story here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. How cool is that? Somebody does a great thing. We get to talk about it right here on the radio. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal, elevating and celebrating Molly Kimball, November's champion of Louisiana.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Miller Lite has more taste and only one more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
Before we begin any electrical work here, we perform a home safety check that begins at your electrical panel to make sure that you and your family are safe. For all your upgrades, installations, and repairs, call Mr. Electric.
My dad just really enjoyed his life, and he enjoyed smoking cigars and thought he was invincible. My stepdad quit smoking, and he really felt like he was in the clear. Sorry. I wish they would have been screened annually. It's not just you affect, it's your entire family.
For more information on Ochsner's free smoking cessation program and to see if you qualify for early lung screenings, visit ochsner.org/quit.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super.
Week 13 in the NFL. Our coverage starts Sunday at 10 a.m. with Magnolia Bluffs Football Sunday with Jimmy Ott, immediately followed by the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tennessee Titans at noon, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
They have played 16 minutes in Qatar, scoreless, 0-0 between the U.S. and Iran. No score between Wales and London. Doesn't matter to us, though, apparently. So somebody's got to score. That'd be great if the U.S. could put one in the back of the net. Auburn made a coaching hire. Hugh Freeze introduced as the new head coach of the Auburn Tigers today. And it has been met with a massive amount of backlash. Now, Hugh Freeze, his past is pretty well documented. Obviously, things went south in a hurry when he was the head coach at Ole Miss. He was caught using his phone to contact escort services, lied about it in Oxford, got fired. We get it. He's been raked over the coals for it. And for those talking about that specific instance, I think he paid a pretty significant price for it. He lost his job. He got no buyout. $16 million went by the wayside. His family went through a ton. And some people will say you deserve a second shot. Some people will say you're a lowlife. I want nothing to do with you. I don't care which side of the team you're on, personally. But the facts are the facts. He did that. This was the punishment. So he's in exile for a little bit. There are rumors, and they're just that some SEC teams wanted to bring him in as an analyst or part of the staff, and the SEC may have said, let's just take a second here. But over the time that he's stepped away from football, been the Liberty head coach, you've seen different articles published about incidents that happened at Briarcrest. You got people on the record saying this happened, that happened. You've got some publicly documented direct messages on Twitter where people at Liberty were uncomfortable with the athletic director hire because of his time at Baylor and what happened there under Art Briles. So what is being reported and speculated on, and again, This is the rumor mill circulating. I'm not here to report facts. It's a radio talk show. I'm going to talk about the things that are being talked about and give my thoughts on them. But there are a lot of people very, very uncomfortable with Hugh Freeze leading a college football program. So much backlash that came from inside Auburn, from alums and supporters of the program and all that kind of stuff, led Auburn to pump the brakes on this thing. And I don't know how long they pumped the brakes. I don't know how deep they went into the weeds. But what I do know, because we know this is fact, they have hired a public relations firm to get them through this hire. It's a little messy. But what it eventually comes down to for 98% of people is how many football games do you win? And Auburn's a tough spot right now. We know why. Alabama, pretty good. Georgia, pretty good. Their two biggest rivals, Alabama and Georgia. But Auburn's got their stuff together from an NIL perspective. If you looked at Hugh Freeze's press conference today, the backdrop was the Auburn Collective logo. They've got cash, and they're spitting it out. You just had a decommitment from Baton Rouge. So connect some of those dots. I think they'll get Hugh Freeze some players, and I think he'll coach them to win. I don't know what level he'll win at. Gus Malzahn won a ton of games and beat some really good teams and won the league and almost won a title, and they wanted to run him out after Thanksgiving almost every year. So I can't promise you what the future is going to be for Hugh Freeze. I think he'll win a lot of football games at Auburn because he's won it everywhere he's been. He took over an absolute disaster in Oxford. The team I just talked about last Friday that quit on Houston Nutt, he came in there and made them relevant quickly and got to 2 New Year's Six Bowls. Beat Bama twice, we know. That's at Ole Miss. I think they'll get him players at Auburn. I think he'll win some games. But make no mistake about it, this hire is not being accepted by everyone right this very second. And one of the stipulations that I found so fascinating is that in Hugh Freeze's contract, he is not allowed to control his Twitter. Auburn's going to handle that. When Hugh Freeze, when Bruce Pearl's team wins a big game over Kentucky, you'll probably see a tweet from Hugh Freeze's account that said, Coach Pearl, War Eagle, heck of a win. That'll come from whatever SID is allowed to control Hugh Freeze's account because Hugh Freeze can't control it. So we trust you, and we're going to pay you $6 million, $7 million a year. Keep in mind the contract value is not grossly high because Hugh Freeze had no leverage. Auburn's still on the hook for a little bit of buyout money, if you hadn't heard. We trust you to run this program. Just you can't tweet. You're not good. You're not competent enough to tweet. You can't control your impulses enough to tweet. And it's not even the tweets he sends out. He's not like he's Kurt Schilling and driving everybody nuts. It's the DMs he sends people. Or responses that he makes to tweets that he can't control himself. And this is just a Hunt Palmer thing, which, by the way, Hunt Palmer, very well aware, his opinion doesn't mean anything in this matter. But it's my show, and you tune in, and I talk, so if you connect the dots, some of you enjoy my opinion at times. Here's my opinion on Hugh Freeze. I just told you I think he's going to win some games. I can't handle him. And I've told this many times on the air, so you've probably heard this. He's not my guy. Because I don't care if you want to run around tweeting Bible verses 3 times a week and talking about how deep your faith is and your connection to your Lord and Savior. That's all fine. You can tweet that, say it in every interview. That's all fine with me. I don't care if you run around with escorts in Florida while you're married. That's not my business. But when you connect the two, I begin to struggle to take anything you say seriously ever. And I can't handle Hugh Freeze. I'm thrilled that his marriage works out and that his daughter and sons love him and that he works with him. I hope he has a great family life. But I cannot handle you doing both of those things. And not to say that everyone who's ever professed any sort of faith has walked a perfect life. That's not but there's enough on side A here and side B here for me to look at those two and go, okay, good football coach, not really my guy. But again, I think he's going to win some games at Auburn. So our Citizens Bank poll question today, what does the Hugh Freeze era entail at Auburn? National championship, championship level program, mediocre, ends quick, bad. There's 4 options there. And look, part of that's Hugh Freeze and part of that's Auburn. They are, look how much buyout money they're owed right now, because they just, it's a fascinating place to cover, a fascinating place to watch, but it's a place that has a rich history and has the ability to win. And I talk about this all the time when I talk about the sport of college football. There just simply aren't that many places that have the necessary ingredients to be elite level programs. And Auburn's one. West Virginia's not. Pitt is not. Oregon State is not. Texas Tech is not. Auburn is. And so if they can get their act together and raise a ton of money to pay recruits to show up there, I think Hugh Freeze will coach them. What evidence would there be that he wouldn't? It's not like his success was way in the past. He did it in one era at Ole Miss, came back, turned Liberty around. They beat 4 ACC teams and then went to Fayetteville and won. Liberty. I'll be quite honest, I don't even think I'd ever heard of Liberty as of like 2011 when I started covering LSU. Got a quarterback from, that had transferred in, and Malik Willis, and won a lot of football games. So, look, I'm never – here's a good thing with Hugh Freeze. I've said many times, like, I need Ole Miss and Arkansas to get new coaches because I like their coaches right now. I like Lane Kiffin, and I like Sam Pittman. I won't have any problem working up some dislike for Hugh Freeze. That won't be an issue here on my end as a purple and gold follower. But, I think, Auburn – looked at Lane Kiffin, thought he's going to take the job. He said no at the 11th hour, and they quickly moved to their next guy. And there are going to be a lot of people who think it's a great hire because he's won a lot of games. A lot of people think it's an awful hire because they believe everything that's on the internet that he may or may not have done. I don't know. Wasn't there for any of that, and I'm not worried about it. But it's a divisive hire that the nation mostly will look on negatively. But if he wins football games there and he beats Alabama, Auburn fans will wrap their arms around. There's no doubt about it. It doesn't quite matter what's in your history at that point. You win a lot of football games in blue and orange, it just goes away. Winning cures a lot of stuff. So Auburn hires Hugh Freeze, but he can't tweet. So every time you see a tweet from that Hugh Freeze profile, just know it's an SID or a coach's assistant back there hammering out on a keyboard and sending it on off. Hugh, go coach the team. No 280 characters for you, sir. You have lost that privilege, but here's some cash. Go beat Bama. Glenn West, Go 247, going to join us coming up next. Talk a little LSU football and some basketball as well. Come back with us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hold down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill.
If you're driving around, you're just not thrilled with your vehicle at the moment, might be a good time to get a new one. Bayou Ford's got a great buyback program. They will buy your vehicle from you, and that's a great head start to getting a new ride, whether that's a pre-owned car or a new car. It's all right there at BayouFord.com. Go to the website and check out the entire inventory. All is right there. They've got a video of every vehicle for you. They've got the price. They've got all the bells and whistles. They've got the Carfax on there as well. All the information that you need to get educated about what they've got. If they have exactly what you want, you got that Bronco, that new Bronco that you've been looking for, new Explorer, maybe it's an F-150, F-250. Bayou Ford can help you out with that. Call Ben Gagne and the crew. They'll make it work for you. If they don't have exactly what you want, you don't like that color, you don't really, they'll customize a vehicle for you. 75% of their customers drive around custom vehicles. 50% never set foot on the lot. It's that easy. They got 6 full-time drivers. Once you customize a vehicle, they can have it delivered right to your home. Perfect time to get a new ride for the new year. BayouFord.com is the website. Bayou Ford, they're going to do right by you.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit.
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community. We are the Tigers. Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Service Mastery Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Preview the SEC Championship game with Peter Burns, and Sean Salisbury stops by. Join us Tuesday, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Still 0-0 over in Qatar. Iran and Team USA, they have played 32 minutes in this final game in group stage. Final match, I apologize. I'm supposed to use the soccer terms. Match on the pitch with the boots and the kits. Got it. Glenn West, Go 247, our guest here on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Glenn, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Hunt. How are you?
Doing very well. What happened in College Station?
Yeah, just not a very fun night for the Tigers. It was the press box was shaking. One of the things that they sent out in our little media guide at the tables that we had in big bold letters that the press box is prone to shake at the hymn for Texas A&M, and it didn't really stop shaking at all in the second half. I mean, the crowd was really into it, pretty much from that forced fumble that was returned for a touchdown. That was pretty much the nail in the coffin there in terms of just Texas A&M seizing momentum, seizing control, and is able to ride it out the rest of the way. Just a LSU team that made a lot of mistakes. It kind of shot itself in the foot a little bit too much, and A&M took advantage in the second half. And LSU's been such a second half team all year, but if you play with fire long enough, eventually you're going to get burned. And I think LSU got a little bit toasted on Saturday in the second half, and just wasn't able to replicate some of their success they've had all year in the final 30 minutes.
What were the issues stopping the run?
Yeah, I mean, they were just getting pushed back. I mean, it was simple as that. I mean, they were just not very aggressive on the front seven. They were consistently getting pushed back. A-Chain is such a, I mean, just watching him live, he is such a shifty running back. He's quick and he's fast, and he's hard to see too. I mean, he's kind of a smaller running back, and so he kind of ducked in and dove and got behind, LSU's, defense front seven there for a while, and just, was able to ride some momentum and confidence. And, the one, I kind of go back to the one quote that Brian Kelly said last week was, you don't want to catch this A&M team when they put everything together and start to show their true potential. And I think that was a young team in Texas A&M that was able to have some success and ride with it, and obviously able to win that game pretty handily in the second half. And a lot of it had to do with LSU's inability to stop the run up front.
What do you think of 9-3?
I think it's still a smashing success. I mean, I think if you had told any LSU fan that you'd be get to 9 wins, you'd beat Alabama, that you'd get into the SEC championship, I'm pretty sure that's a scenario that 10 out of 10 LSU fans would take. So I do think you have to be a little bit, more lenient in terms of perspective. I think the previous 5 weeks, the expectations rose on this group and on this team. But I think what you saw last weekend was that this is a program that still's got some work to do. They're still lacking in some depth in some areas, and if once they get that back on track, I think that this is a team that absolutely can compete in years in the future. And I think that's probably the biggest takeaway that you can have from this season. More than anything, they can compete now, but they're really going to be special in the future because of some of the young talent that's really starting to emerge this year.
Glenn West, Go27 Sports, is our guest here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. What do you know about the status of Jaden Daniels to this point, and what the injury is and how limited he may be on Saturday?
Yeah, so, I mean, it sounds like they dodged the bullet. I think there was initially some concern that it was a high ankle sprain, which really wouldn't have been good. Probably would have meant he was out this week. But, Test came back clean on that. They've had him in the walking boot the last couple days with, the goal that he would be able to do some more testing today. And if he cleared his testing today, that he'd be able to practice this week and get back, onto the field this week and practice and lead up to this game. I don't know that they, answered all the questions yet. I think we still got to wait until later in the week before we feel confident that he's going to play. But, he's got a lot of hurdles to clear for sure. And that, the one thing about this game and this weekend is the biggest X factor is going to be Jaden's health. They're going to need him to be as close to 100% to be able to stay competitive in this game. And, if he's not able to go, that's obviously a huge blow. But I think we're not there yet, and we just got to wait and see what the testing reveals today.
Kayshon Boutte certainly had his moments. I thought he played very well against Alabama, and he's made some plays this year, but obviously hasn't had the year that we thought he may entering in. Why do you think they've struggled to get him involved?
I think it's a number of things. I think it's just been maybe a lack of chemistry with him and Jaden Daniels. I think the two just haven't been as connected on the field as maybe a lot of people had hoped. I think you're seeing that connection with Malik Neighbors and with a lot of other guys on the team. Mason Taylor is really a trusted guy that Daniels looks for. It's just hadn't been there for Kayshon as consistently this year. I don't know that it's any regression on his part. I think early in the year, maybe you could point to, him just trying to get his feet wet and trying to get back into the game flow of things. But, I think he's looked pretty good the last, couple weeks, and, he's moving, he's getting some separation. It's just about those two, getting a little bit more locked in unison. And so, we'll see what happens. But, I know that LSU is going to try to scheme him up and try to get him involved because he's an important piece of this offense.
It appears the Stars and Stripes just put one in the back of the net, but I think that's their best player that's now writhing in pain in the net. So good news, bad news there for Team USA. I don't know enough to give you any more update than that. But
I'm looking at everybody saying goal and Pulisic and
Yeah, but it looks like he ran into the goalie. It doesn't look like he's that hurt to me, but he doesn't look like he's having that much fun either, even though he just scored a big goal. Yeah, exactly. Whatever. I hope they win. That'd be great. So moving on to Georgia. What chance do you give LSU on Saturday?
I think they can keep it competitive. I'm not expecting LSU to win this game, but I mean, I think there's been some cracks in Georgia the last couple of weeks. The one thing that really concerns me is that Georgia's finally starting to get the run game going. McIntosh has really played well the last couple of weeks, and for an LSU team that's coming off of giving up 215 yards to Devon Achane, that's not exactly the recipe that you want to see. Is Georgia putting it together with their run game? I think in terms of just what this game has to look like, I think LSU's going to have to get some long, sustained drives. I mean, like you saw in that first half against A&M, I think you're going to have to offensively put together some long drives and really draw this game out, keep it low scoring. But it's going to be tough. I mean, the one thing that Georgia has this year that LSU really hasn't faced is just elite tight end play. I mean, that's very unique, very specific to Georgia between Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington. How LSU schemes up those two guys in the middle of the field is going to be really interesting to me. Does it affect Harold Perkins in terms of just having him drop in coverage more? Are they able to rush him more as a pass rusher with those two tight ends that are obviously so lethal? Several questions that I have, about how LSU is going to be able to scheme this Georgia offense. But again, I think it's really the X factor is going to be Jaden Daniels' health. If he's healthy and he's able to look like the Jaden Daniels we saw against Alabama and against Ole Miss and against Florida, then I think LSU has an opportunity to stay in this game. But I think there's still a lot of questions about how LSU is going to be able to scheme this Georgia team up.
It appears that the thought is going to be now to try to get Harold Perkins schematically moved out of the box if you possibly can, playing that outside linebacker spot, try to get him into the slot and cover more than he actually can rush the passer and be a menace inside the box. How does Matt House make sure that doesn't happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think you probably maybe have to put another, secondary guy on there, another defensive back, whether it's moving Greg Brooks up, whether it's, inserting, Jay Ward and moving him around a little bit. I mean, I think you'd love that. In an ideal world, you'd love to be able to put Harold in as a pure pass rusher, but that's kind of the job of B.J. Ojolari right now, and so they're asking Harold, I think, to not only be a pass rushing threat, but also he's got the athletic ability to drop in coverage, and I'd actually be really interested to see if they do allow him to drop in coverage a little bit more, if he's able to kind of make things a little bit difficult on a Brock Bowers. I'm not sure that Stetson Bennett is the kind of quarterback where you need to put a spy on him, which would allow, Harold Perkins to be able to, drop in coverage and see if you can't cause some disruption to their tight ends. But, it's going to be a big question. I just don't know how they're going to be able to do that. But I think you're certainly looking at a situation where he might not be able to rush the passer as much in this game. And if that's the case, LSU is going to be really reliant on Ojolari and those guys up front to really create some havoc.
Last one here, Glenn. LSU basketball got a tight win over Wofford over the weekend. Your thoughts on those guys as they head back out on the floor against UTA on Friday?
Yeah, a little too close for comfort. I think I watched some of the highlights. I was actually driving back from College Station, so I didn't get a chance to catch the whole game live. But Adam Miller is a 3-point stud. I think he's absolutely your creator on offense. He's a guy that you need the ball in his hands as much as possible. I'm not sure that anything has really changed for me in terms of the outlook of this team and kind of what they can do this season. I think there's still some really potent size questions around this group that they're going to have to answer. Wofford did out-rebound them. They got a couple more offensive rebounds than I'm sure LSU would have liked to have given up. I think that's going to be a huge question for this team that they're going to have to continue to answer. Jalen Reed, it was nice to see him bring the ball up a couple times. He made a nice couple passes there to KJ Williams on the interior. So getting guys, just out of their comfort zone and into spots to where they're going to be successful is going to be really important for this group. But it's also going to have to start with being able to grab the ball and move out in transition, because I do think that's going to be a big key for this team as SEC play starts.
Glenn, we appreciate it. Glenn West, Go 247. We'll talk next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
Glenn West of Go 247, our guest each and every Tuesday here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. USA leads 1-0. I'm not a doctor nor a soccer expert. Sounds like Pulisic, or looks like to me that Christian Pulisic, who scored the goal, just ran into the goalie really hard and just a little gimpy. He did kind of jog off a little bit. So, I don't know. I don't even know the rules of soccer if you can come back in after you come out. But I do know that it looks to me like he would probably be okay if they played again this weekend. But again, I don't know that. I'm just trying to help you out as you're driving in your car and you can't watch if you have any interest in the U.S. national team. So that's it for my soccer for this hour. Come back and close it out on this first hour on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Love telling you about One Bath & Closets. David Duvall and his team been in the game for 3 decades, redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Listen, if you tell them that Hunt and Hill sent you 104.5 ESPN, 30% off your closet remodel. Some of our closets are disasters. They're not big enough. We don't know how to organize them. We got too many clothes. You got to take care of that and let Dave Duvall and his team come in and do that. Sometimes they'll come in and just absolutely do a remodel where they've got to knock a wall out or knock something out and create more space for you. And that's okay. They're a licensed contractor and they can do it. Sometimes you have enough closet space. You're just not using it right. So let One Bath & Closets come in. They may put in something here or there to help with some compartments or some storage, but they're going to help you better optimize that space that you currently got. And on the bathroom front, go to the website, onebathandclosets.com, and look at some of the great things that they can do inside of your bathroom. If you've just got a tub that's sitting there and you want to put in a gorgeous glass shower that you can walk into, really opens up the entire room, makes it look just much more modern and much nicer, they can do that at One Bath & Closets, and it's not a job that takes a ton of time. Like they're going to be in your house for 6 months dealing with your bathroom. They don't have to be. It can be pretty quick, pretty painless. One Bath & Closets is your spot. David Duvall and his team in the business for 3 decades. Go to the website, onebathandclosets.com.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Join me, Jimmy Ott and Mike Delicano for the Tuesday edition of Game Time presented by Bet Rivers. We're at Doe's Eat Place on Government Street in the heart of Mid-City. Game Time presented by Bet Rivers, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Closing up hour number 1 here, Pete Futek, College Football News, and Sharif Ishak from WDSU with us at 2:30. Speaking of WDSU down in New Orleans, some good news for the dozens of Tulane fans out there. Willie Fritz is going to stick around for the time being. Looks like Georgia Tech is going to hire their interim coach as opposed to Willie Fritz. That is Brent Key. So, take a guy on a staff that was an absolute disaster and hope he changes things around. Good on you, Georgia Tech. You'll probably figure that one out. But Willie Fritz will be with the Green Wave for at least a little bit longer, as he appears is not going to head to Atlanta. Speaking of New Orleans as well, Zion Williamson has played 100 games. I saw some stats that were dug up by Andrew Lopez, so I wanted to kind of bring these to light because it's pretty impressive. Through 100 games, Zion Williamson is averaging 25.2 points on 60% shooting. And you go, okay, 25 points, 60% shooting, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's the greatest ever. No player in his debut 100 games has ever averaged that. In fact, the only players in the shot clock era that have averaged 25 points and 60% shooting in any 100-game stretch in their career are Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Kevin McHale, and Wilt Chamberlain. That any good? Chuck, Shaq, McHale, and Wilt. The only ones to ever do it in any stretch. Zion did it in his first 100 games. He's the 12th player in the history of the league with 2,500 points in his first 100 games. First player since Michael Jordan to accomplish that. And the others were Wilt, Walt Bellamy, Oscar Robertson, Kareem, George Mikan, Rick Barry, Elvin Hayes, Elgin Baylor. A little bit different era for Zion. The first guy since Mike to accomplish 2,500 points in 100 games. He's got 42 career games with 20 points in the restricted area. No other player to debut over the last 25 years has done it 10 times through their first 100 games. He's got 42. No one else has done it 10. More than 4 times. He has 54 career games with 25 points and 50% shooting. He's done that 54 times. That's tied with Kareem for the second most by any player through their first 100 games. Only Walt Bellamy has more. I can't tell you much about his career, but it sounds like he was pretty good. But you start to hear some of the names that Zion is being mentioned with here. It's Kareem and Shaq and Jordan and Oscar Robertson. And you realize that the amount of talent that he's been given in that body and the style of play that he brings to the table is truly special. So you really hope that he can stay healthy for the foreseeable future and that the Pels can continue to build around this nucleus because, you're starting to see the big 3 teams kind of fall by the wayside and the Bucks kind of put an end to that, and nobody's going to replicate what the Warriors have. You going to go find another Steph? No. So the Pels are doing it in a way that is probably the best method to go do it. It's just hard to find the generational player. Zion is when he's on the floor. B.I. is an all-NBA guy. McCollum, great leader. They've got the nucleus here that could be something special in the next few years. And the Chris Paul, David West team got it cooking there a little bit. And there's a lot of buzz when Anthony Davis came to New Orleans. And I think y'all know when listening to me on these airwaves for the last 11 years, I'm not going to watch every Pels game. I'm not going to know every stat. I'm not going to know every trend. That's why I bring Sharif on. That's what we're going to do moving forward, is just to kind of touch on that once a week as opposed to spending 2.5 hours on it. But it is cool to know that right down the road, in an hour, you can get there in an hour and 20 minutes, a guy that's doing things that no one does is playing. And that's pretty cool. And I think that it's really cool if there is a faction of Baton Rouge that becomes big Pelicans fans. I got guys at Sports Trivia every Tuesday that are watching the Pels locked in. That's awesome. Am I ever going to be that? Probably not. Will I get into it if it's in the playoffs? Probably. But even if you don't become a diehard fan or watch him twice a week or whatever the case may be, knowing that Zion's doing what he's doing is really cool. And if he can stay healthy, man, that's a lot of fun. That'll do it for hour number 1 here. It was a busy one. Chatted with Glenn West, talked a little Hugh Freeze to Auburn, as well as what Janie Daniels have to do on Saturday to help LSU get across the finish line. It's a tall ask, but that's all in hour number 1. You can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube. Come back after Sports Center with Pete Butek, college football news, 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Christine Lisi. Big day at the World Cup for the U.S. Needs a win against Iran to advance to the knockout stage. Christian Pulisic with a goal in the 38th minute. The United States has a 1-0 lead at halftime. Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers told the Pat McAfee Show he plans on playing Sunday against the Bears after getting positive test results on his rib injury. The final decision up to Rodgers, as opposed to Coach Matt LaFleur, believes ESPN's Marcus Spears.
Buddy, you have zero control over anything that Aaron Rodgers is going to do. If Aaron Rodgers walks in that damn facility today and say, I'm playing with a punctured lung, Matt LaFleur ain't got no say-so as far as playing Jordan Love and keeping Aaron Rodgers off the football field. We have watched this movie play for 2 years.
Eagles safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson out indefinitely with a lacerated kidney. He's got an NFL-leading 6 interceptions on an Eagles D that's tops in the league with 23 takeaways. NBA Timberwolves all-star forward Karl Anthony Towns expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks with a right calf strain, reports ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. Team expects him to return sometime in January.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
1, 2, 3. Hunt and Hill. Tom Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hour 2 on a Tuesday, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Decided to kick off this hour with Pete Butek from College Football News. Pete, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Doing all right. It wasn't a great Saturday down here, but we're trying to shift focus to Atlanta. Your thoughts on what we witnessed in College Station on Saturday?
I mean, those other guys on the other side are on scholarship and NIL money too. I mean, they're good. I mean, they had a defense. They just opened it up a little bit. And look, it was the last game of the year. That's their bowl game. It's all the cliches, but that was a tough week all the way around for the favorites and the teams, because the teams that, this was it for them tended to play a whole lot better than everyone else. And this is one of those games that, hey, we picked that right. I mean, we picked A&M was going to actually win this. And, look, LSU was all right, but Texas A&M, again, they had talent. That was never the question all year. They just were able to focus up and put it all together for one day.
Mentioned tough weekend for the favorites. Ohio State was a favorite. I want both sides of what we watched in that game on Saturday. Start with what it means for Ohio State.
Well, they've gone out of their mind. I mean, because now they want to fire Ryan Day, and the fan base is crazy. And it's like they forget that they're probably a USC loss away from making the college football playoff. And I've said this to every Buckeye person available too. So this is how miserable they are. They can get into the playoff, go on, beat Michigan in the national championship, and there'd still be a segment of the fan base that would be like, oh, well, we lost to Michigan the first time. Ryan Day sucks. Like, they spent their entire last 360 whatever days focused on this one game. They were insane about it. Like, there's a disturbance in the force. We're not going to be okay again until we beat Michigan. What do? They come out and, we're flat. They got beaten up.
Pete, I got to tell you, something similar to this is going to happen in Tuscaloosa sometime over the next 10 years, and I can't wait. But we'll cross that bridge.
10 years. If hopefully we're still around by then, and Nick Saban will still be coaching.
Well, I can't predict when he's going to quit, but the next guy's not going to do what he's been doing for 15 years.
Y'all sure Lane Kiffin doesn't come in and keep this whole thing rolling?
He can't do this. He can't do this for 15 years. No, he can't win 6 titles. You're crazy.
He can't do that. He can't do that. But my guess is that the reason why he's not the Auburn head coach is that he knows that he's next guy up there. So whenever that happens, nobody's ever going to do this again.
Right.
But look, I mean, that's the crazy part about Alabama. They're 2 plays away from being the number 1 team on the board tonight. Like it's that, but that's the SEC. I mean, that's, welcome to it. And that's why everyone wants the expanded college football playoff, because you want to get to that point where you're able to lose a game and still be okay. But right now, it's just not the case.
Take this question however you want it. You could say they did last year, but I'll just toss it this way. Has Michigan turned the corner? I use air quotes there.
Yeah, to a point. I mean, there's a hard ceiling that they can run into. What they improved on more than anything else is their lines are phenomenal. So the offensive line was amazing last year. They beat up Ohio State in last year's game, and this year they got even better with transfer portal helping at center and some veterans and some good depth there. So that offensive line is great. The defensive line was phenomenal. And even though they didn't run well against Ohio State, they gave J.J. McCarthy enough protection to work. So, I mean, it's just the question of if you can get your lines right, everything else works from there. But there's just that hard ceiling that they don't have the 5 stars across the board, where they can beat an Ohio State. They can rise up and beat someone on the right day. But when it's really game on in the college football playoffs, do I think they can get by Georgia? No, but nobody probably can. So, but yeah, they're now turned the corner to be that we know what they can be. We know how close they can come. But again, I almost think they're more like Notre Dame-ish in that they could get there but not get over the hump, rather than be like, we're about to see the next Clemson or Alabama or anything like that.
3-parter here. How good is this USC team? How good is Caleb Williams? And how much of this first year under Lincoln Riley is an indictment on the rest of the Pac-12?
Okay, start with first of all, my one call is this is my one big call of the year back in April, is that USC was going to get there to the college football playoff. I have a gut feeling they're going to come really close and just blow it at the end, just to screw me up. But because they have all the talent, look what they did. I mean, it was almost underappreciated, the talent level that they brought in from the transfer portal for everywhere. I mean, they just put together an all-star team on offense to go along with the guys who were already there, who weren't that bad to begin with. Now they got to do the same thing for the defensive side. So to start with, they're that good. That offense, I mean, again, you're talking about all-stars. The Heisman winners at under center. You've got the best wide receiver in college football last year there. You've got an offensive line that was beefed up and put together and improved through the transfer portal. They're going to have to win like 48-45 against everybody, but they're that good. Lincoln Riley is just that good. But in the indictment of the Pac-12, a little bit, but the Pac-12's got talent. That's a pretty good conference from top to middle tier there. So give them credit. Then they came out and did what they had to do against Notre Dame. That really kind of was the kind of prove-it moment for them.
You think they win on Saturday?
I don't. As much as I've been driving the USC, the college football playoff party bus, I've got memory. I can't shake the idea of what Utah did to Oregon last year in the Pac-12 championship, and just how this program has a way of, they've got the defense, they've got the running style, they've got the power, and that's how you beat USC, is you got to blast away on them. Notre Dame wasn't able to do that well enough. They kind of abandoned the run early on, threw a little bit too much. Utah's got the right mix. I think Utah pulls this off, and we're going to have a big argument debate coming for at least 12 to 24 hours. But with that said, remember, we have yet to have the real game-changing loss in a conference championship in the college football playoff era. It's really been kind of remarkable that in 8 years, there's been a Baylor over, Oklahoma State here, and an Oregon losing to Utah there. But for the most part, we haven't had a Northwestern beating an Ohio State. We haven't had any real massive game changers. And so considering the luck of this committee that they've had over the years and not having to make a real hard decision, it's probably just all going to go chalk, and it's just going to be kind of dull at the end of the day.
Safe to say you don't like the Tigers' chances in Atlanta on Saturday?
But it doesn't. Let's see what Georgia team shows up, because they're in. I mean, they can lose. They can get destroyed, and they're in. The only real drama with all this is, does Georgia lose, and does Michigan and TCU win, which would then mean the committee would probably put Georgia at the 3. And then what do you do? Because the one thing the committee is going to try to put together the 4 best teams no matter what. But what they do care about is location, and they would love nothing more than to put Georgia in Atlanta for the Peach Bowl. You kind of can't do that at the 3 spot. I mean, they probably would. But TCU would be like, hey, great, we're the number 2 seed, and we get to go play in Atlanta, Georgia, against Georgia. There's just no advantage to being the 2 seed there. So That's the only real drama at this. But look, yeah, LSU could pull this off. I don't think they will, but they could. I mean, it's again, Georgia knows it's in, so they can say that they care. They can say what they want to. They learned from last year and they want to win this and all that, and kind of assign a feeling to an entire team. But LSU is going to come in jacked for this after the loss on Texas against Texas A&M, and they could absolutely make this a game.
Your thoughts on Auburn having Hugh Freeze as their new head coach?
Fine, whatever. I mean, talk about a failure of imagination. I mean, okay, fine, but what has he really done? I mean, has he won national championships? No. He won a Sun Belt title with Arkansas State, and he beat Nick Saban twice. Okay, and forgetting all the baggage and other stuff. All right, so is he gonna, like you said, like, is he gonna be is he gonna win 6 national championships at Auburn? Is he gonna be the one that makes Alabama say, "Uh-oh, we're in trouble now"? It's okay. He's just thrown on the pile that Auburn's gonna go 9-3 every year again, and maybe they'll make the expanded college football playoff every 2 or 3 years or so, and that's good. But like I'm more excited to see where Deion goes, to be honest. I want to see. I want between Matt Rule and I guess Luke Fickell is all right for Wisconsin, and Hugh Freeze is a good coach. Auburn will be fine with him. I want to see who's next. I want to see that who's that next kind of out of the box coaching hire that ends up rocking and rolling. And man, if Deion goes to Colorado, that as a Wisconsin alum, I wanted Deion. I want the newness. I want the guy who's going to bring the new energy, and that's going to be the most fun hire of the bunch wherever he ends up going.
I just can't imagine that Colorado is the fit for him. He needs something, either out west or in the southeast where there's a little more splash.
No, but see, you'd think you remember who Deion is. I mean, he is as prime time as he is. He's the guy who likes to go fishing. He really is he's fine living in Jackson, Mississippi. I mean, he is, he makes the splash wherever he goes. And, it's a beautiful place. I mean, you want to talk about a recruiting, place to recruit to. Dan McCartney used to say, give me the kid who wants to go in Nebraska. If I can get him on my campus at Boulder, he's coming here. And he's Deion. I mean, who's not going to want to play for this guy? So beyond all that, the guy proved he's doing this. I mean, he's succeeded at Jackson State. This is not just a side gig for him. He dove right in, and he's proved that he could do the work, and he's good enough as a head coach to actually take the Deion Sanders part away from this. And he's actually a really good candidate. So I'll be really curious to see what he does with it.
That's interesting because I think sometimes if you're a basketball coach and you get a hot March Madness and for a week and a half you play really good, and you got to jump because you don't know when you're going to do that again. I think Deion can do exactly what he's doing in the SWAC for 3 more years if he needs to, until whoever he wants picks up the phone. I don't think he has to go and just give this a test spin at Colorado. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but sometimes when you get that opportunity, it's your time. You just jump on it when you get that chance. And look at how fast he was able to rise up and get this gig. Look how fast he was able to do this. So sometimes when it's the right situation at the right time, if you're a coach and Deion Sanders is a coach now, you do it. Because again, it's a beautiful place to be. You can win there. And like you said, kind of alluded to before, when it comes to the Pac-12, look what's coming down. Assuming that the Colorado sticks around the Pac-12 with USC and UCLA leaving, you can do some big things there. I mean, look, they've won national championships there before. They've succeeded before. It is possible to win in Boulder, Colorado.
He's Pete Futek, College Football News. Pete, we appreciate the time.
Have a good one, guys.
Sure will. You can follow him on Twitter at Pete Futek. I want to remind you, tonight I will be at Pluckers on Nicholson, 8:30 Sports Trivia, watching some hoops. And playing some sports trivia. They got great drinks there, great food. 8:30, always have a blast. You can win Pluckers gift cards and just enjoy your evening. So grab a team, come on out to Pluckers on Nicholson for 8:30 sports trivia. We'll come back. Sharif Ishak with us in 15 minutes on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
Now's the perfect time to download FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. So sign up with that promo code 1045 ESPN. FanDuel's got all your favorite bets, from the money line to the point spread to player props, and with live betting, you can get updated odds on games that have already started. It's all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So sign up today with the promo code 1045ESPN for your no sweat first bet. That is promo code 1045ESPN. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. Refund issues not withdrawable. Free bets expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you somebody who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I've got that blue sky. I've got that sunshine.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your
semifinals in the Prep Football Playoffs, and we get started Friday night at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview presented by the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Catholic High and John Curtis kick off at 7, and that's immediately followed by the Lake Urgent Care Total Occupational Medicine Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, Your View, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Sharif Ishak, WDSU, going to join us in 10 minutes talking about the Saints, a little bit of Pels as well. And plus, Willie Fritz sticking around at Tulane for the time being as Georgia Tech going to hire their interim coach as opposed to going outside of that horrendous football program. So thumbs up to them. That'll probably work out great for you. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank and Trust are in the spirit to rock your holidays with $15,000 in cash. It's our 15K holidays. Head to 1045ESPN.com. Register to win a $15,000 national cash prize or $1,500 in a local cash prize. The 15K holidays powered by Citizens Bank and Trust and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. College football playoff rankings tonight. And what did I tell you every single week? They don't matter. They don't matter. They don't matter. They don't matter because we don't have the information. LSU got beat by 100 in College Station. Do we have to worry about whether or not they're going to get it over Tennessee? Tennessee, they lost to South Carolina. Do we have to worry about that? Would you looky there? Ohio State just lost by 100 to Michigan. Clemson lost to South Carolina. Without that information, what they tell you on November the 14th doesn't matter. And tonight, a lot of it doesn't matter. Whoever's ranked higher between Ohio State and Alabama, okay. The other one, probably not going to jump in front. But if you don't have the information on a TCU loss or a Michigan loss, and you don't know what happens to USC, then what are we talking about? How do you know how USC, with 2 losses, compares to Ohio State? You don't, because USC doesn't have 2 losses. So, I'll remember for the rest of my days, until the good Lord takes my memory, where I was when the 2019 playoff rankings came out, the final ones. The Saints were playing the Niners in the Dome, honestly, for home field. And I went to that game, and before kickoff, because I think at 11's when they announced them, we got in the Dome early, got in front of a TV, and I watched them. And everybody thought I was a lunatic for screaming in the Dome an hour and 10 minutes before the game started. But I did, because I didn't want to play Ohio State or Clemson. I wanted to play Oklahoma. So when that red and scarlet O came up in the 2 spot, I was super fired up. We thought LSU had done enough, but you never know until they give you all the information. So if you're looking at New Year's 6 possibilities and all that kind of stuff, yeah, you can start playing around with the teams who don't play anymore. But if anybody else has more work to do, specifically more work to do in losing games, the information's just not all that relevant. And now I know nobody in South Louisiana is going to care all that much because LSU has eliminated itself with its 3rd loss. And so the ratings probably won't be good here. Unless people from the Baton Rouge and South Louisiana want to go ahead and tune in to yell at Reese Davis, who apparently has become public enemy number 1 on the internet. I'm seeing stuff in the Bayou 4 chat. I'm seeing stuff on Twitter. I'm seeing stuff on message boards. I'm on 3. I'm writing baseball stuff for them. And all of a sudden, the Reese Davis, people hate Reese Davis. I think Reese Davis is awesome. I know where he went to school. I hate his alma mater's football team dearly. But I think he gives a very informed and honest opinion. And if that drives you nuts, then, what can you say? Same thing. I guess I'm just off on a Bama guys tangent now. We can shift to that because we've kind of done what we're going to do on college football playoff. I tweeted out on Saturday how good a job I thought Greg McElroy did. And I thought he's done a great job all year long. I think he and Joe Tess and Katie George have had the luxury, kind of a luxury. They've done LSU 6 or 7 times now. It's got to be the most anyone's ever done a team. But they have a lot of information to go off of and a lot of history, whereas opposed to just trying to prep him for one game. But McElroy, as someone I've said many times here, am not necessarily looking for all the X's and O's when I'm watching the live play. McElroy has a really good ability, like the great analyst should, when they immediately go to replay after the play ends, right when the guy gets tackled and they go to the replay, he's able to tell me what created that, whether it's offense or defense. I think he gives great thoughts. I think he gives honest thoughts. But honestly, I guess whenever McElroy says something positively about LSU's opponent or negatively about LSU because he feels that's what happened on the playing field, everyone just blows the gasket. This Bama guy had to turn it on mute. That's what I got on Twitter. Had to mute the second half. It's like, really? Because I'm pulling just as hard as anybody for LSU, and I think he's doing a really good job. So I think that's just, and it's something that Joe Buck said a long time ago. He said, look, most people, especially when it comes to baseball, which he did a lot, are used to listening to their hometown broadcast. And when things go national, and in baseball, like if with the Cubs, I get John Shammy and Jim DeShays for every game. Used to get forever Chip Carey, and we had Steve Stone. And then for a long time, Lynn Casper and Jim Deshade. Like, I know my hometown broadcast team, and not that Chicago's my hometown, but you get the point. And when you go national, they're not as dramatic when something good happens or as kind of pessimistic when something bad happens. And these guys are not going to watch A&M rip off a 30-yard run as a 14-point underdog and go, oh, yeah, 15-yarder on LSU there. Hopefully the Tigers can get the stop. They're going to be excited. It's 100,000 people. There's an underdog playing. So I've never been on board with the I hate the announcer guy. And I'm not sure how I got to I hate the announcer guy. There have been times when I've watched an LSU game and thought, man, this guy's really doing a poor job of analyzing the game. Like, I think he did an awful job at looking at that replay and determining what it was, or forgot. Or he can't pronounce somebody's name. Like, that kind of stuff will happen. But like, just because they don't exactly feel the same way about every play and their voice inflection's a little different, I never quite got on board with all that. But look, don't watch Reese tonight. You don't have to. Tigers aren't going to be ranked all that high. They want to play in an Access Bowl. They're going to have to go beat Georgia. There's no question about that. But I think tonight you're looking at Georgia 1, Michigan 2, TCU 3, USC 4, and then what do they do with Ohio State and Alabama? That's kind of the issue. And if you're pulling for Bama to be left out of the playoff, then you hope Ohio State's sitting there in front of them, because I don't think Bama sitting at home is going to do a lot to pass Ohio State if they're in front of them. But we'll see how that all shakes out. It's to be determined, as they say, tonight on ESPN. Looking up at the score of the soccer match, it is still USA 1, Iran 0. They have played 63 minutes in Qatar. So Christian Pulisic with the score a little bit earlier, but had to leave the game because apparently may have gotten a little shot below the belt, a significant one, when he was on the full run and knocked it into the goal and then ran into the goalie. So that probably didn't feel great, but probably feel great right now looking up at that scoreboard, seeing the Stars and Stripes with the 1-0 lead. USA advances with a win over Iran. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Excited to see pro hockey coming back to Raising Cane's River Center this winter. Tickets start at just $10 for the games. You can find them at Ticketmaster.com and the Raising Cane's River Center box office. Keep listening for your chance to win some from us, and sign up to win at 1045ESPN.com. And we want to remind you about Friday's broadcast. 1045 ESPN is going to be hitting the road for the 2022 SEC Football Championship. You can tune in Friday as we broadcast live from the Big Kahuna in downtown Atlanta. That's from noon to 6 Central Time. That coverage presented to you by Hudco Roofing. I'll be here, and I will not be on the air. It'll be Hanny and Hester in my slot, and I'll be at Rouse's doing our remote broadcast from over there during After Further Review. So the crew going to head over to Atlanta. I'm going to stay here, work with the network on pregame from campus, and hope that the Tigers can pull it out as we sit back from here in Baton Rouge. We'll come back with Sharif Ishak from WDSU next on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Reliable Roofing and Construction. Check them out, reliableroofingbr.com. No job too big or too small. What if you just don't know what kind of shape your roof's in? Got through a fall here without significant storm damage in our area, but you're not sure what that roof's looking like. No job too big or too small for Reliable Roofing and Construction. They'll come over, they'll give it an inspection. They'll give it a look. There's nothing wrong, you're good to go. If there is something wrong and we need to do something with just a few shingles, we'll do that. It's not a job too small. Need a roof replacement? Of course, Reliable Roofing and Construction can make that happen for you. Lionel Hayes, born and raised in Baton Rouge, started his business in Baton Rouge, and he wants to serve the people of Baton Rouge. Great shingle options, great competitive pricing, as well as a 5-year labor warranty on all their jobs. You want to see their work, go to reliableroofingbr.com or check them out on Instagram at Reliable Roofing LLC. Reliable Roofing and Construction, the website again, reliableroofingbr.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7, The Tiger.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Service Mastery Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite to get your
Week 13 in the NFL. Our coverage starts Sunday at 10 a.m. with Magnolia Bluffs Football Sunday with Jimmy Ott, immediately followed by the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tennessee Titans at noon, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Playing the 70th minute. USA 1, Iran nothing. Head out to the Jim's Firearms phone line. Sharif Ishak, WDSU, is our guest. Sharif, you a big World Cup guy?
Yes, of course. Okay. I know nothing about soccer.
Yeah, I just caught myself on the air. I didn't really catch myself. It just is what it is. Pulisic got hurt. I know who that is. I know he's our best player. I know he scored a goal. And then he came off, and I was like, I have no idea if he's eligible to go back in, and I still don't know the answer to that, quite honestly. I don't know anything about soccer, but I hope they win.
Yeah, I don't know much, but he can't. I don't think he can come back in. Once they sub out for you, you're done. That's all I know.
All right, good. Well, I like when we score. That's good. We did earlier, so hopefully they win. They got 20 minutes left with a little stoppage time on top of that. Team that doesn't win a lot is the New Orleans Saints. Got shut out on Sunday. Just I couldn't really even come up with the words to describe that offensive performance, from the ineptitude to then creating opportunities and failing to cash in on them. It was just bad on every level.
I think Lance Moore put it perfectly on Twitter. We stink. I mean, what else can you say other than that offense just stinks? And yeah, I understand the 49ers are the #1 defense in the NFL, but yet you still got it down there twice and couldn't score a single point. Now, I give credit to the defense punching the ball out of Kamara's hand, but maybe he was working a little too much for those yards. And for a second, I thought the way the season has been going, that Juwan Johnson was really going to catch that ball in the end zone off the deflection fumble. And then he dropped a touchdown pass, and then Taysom dropped a touchdown pass in that same possession. Now, Andy Dalton wasn't to blame in that game. I cannot lie. He threw some really good passes. Olave dropped one. The 2 touchdown passes dropped in the end zone in that same series. It was just ugly. I mean, look, man, you are what your record says you are. The team is not good. I've told you that on many occasions this season. Just not good.
I mean, you haven't covered a team quite like this. Is it different in the interview rooms? Is it different in the press conferences? Is it just a different feel?
Yeah, because I think, those 7 and 9 seasons, at least Drew Brees was there. And, he was there after the games saying how, got to be better. This is awful. This is, unlike us. We can't be this way. And, you saw the tweets that Alvin Kamara didn't talk after the game, after his 2 fumbles. He hasn't talked in quite a few weeks now. And I thought maybe he would address the media at least one of the 2 games. Even after the win last week, he didn't talk. So I don't know if he doesn't want to talk because of the Vegas stuff, which he talked about earlier this season, or if he just didn't want to talk because of the 2 fumbles and things aren't going well. And it's such a different feel because those 7 and 9 teams were bad, but this is just deplorable. It's just so tough to watch. I mean, there just isn't any consistency other than being bad, consistently bad, and that's just a bad thing. The defense has gotten better, right? We could say the defense has gotten better. They did a good job outside of that one drive when Tyron tipped the ball and Jennings just made a good play. I mean, Chris Harris made a boneheaded play before that, but for the most part, they did well.
What's more deflating as a Saints supporter, if you're a Saints fan, this season as it sits right now and understanding that it's not going anywhere, or the overall state of the franchise?
I'm going to have to go with the overall state because I don't know where they can go after this year. I've said to you, a few times over the last few weeks that they are pretty much stuck in you run it back situation with the same players because of the cap, and some of the guys are a little bit older, and you may not get much for them, or you just blow it up and say, oh, well, we'll eat the cap next year. We'll trade our, veteran guys, get some picks for it, and then we'll punt to 2024. But it's so hard for me to think about going backwards, knowing how long it took to build the franchise to what it was from 06 to 21. It's just so hard. So that makes me think Mickey's got to fix it, man. He's part of the problem. No, there's a lot of dirty hands. It's just not Dennis. It's not the coaches and players. Mickey put this team together and the coaching staff together. So, yeah, I think overall it doesn't look good, man. This season is already – I know they can still somehow have a miracle because the South is terrible, but they are so bad I'm not even thinking about them winning the division because they can't do anything good for multiple games.
Over-under on Jameis Winston pass attempts the rest of the year, 4.5.
I honestly going to take the over. I think if they lose Monday night, I think after the bye week, I could see him playing against the Falcons at home and finishing out the season as the starting quarterback. There will be no excuse if the offense let's just say it just as bad this week with Andy Dalton. I know it wasn't his fault this past week, but if it's bad again this week after the bye week, you have no excuse not to play him. What are you playing for at that point?
Yeah.
Just go out there and see what you got because it's just not pretty football, Hunt. I mean, good God. I mean, nothing is happening. It's short intermediate routes. Some of them misfires down the field, decisions sometimes. It's just time to move on and just go back to Jameis after the bye week if they lose to the Bucs and the offense is bad.
Any reason to believe they'll come out inspired and play tough against a team that they've played tough for 3 years now?
I mean, they've played them pretty well. They played them well. The defense, I think the defense is going to be fine. They were fine in that first game. The issue was all the turnovers by Jameis. Funny enough, I mean, not funny enough, but I think the defense is going to play inspired against Tom Brady. They know they still have a chance. I think they'll play inspired, but man, just like what I'm watching and seeing these last few weeks, it's like, man, what in the world is going on? How did it get this bad? Sure, they'll come out and play inspired, but do I think they can win? Nope. I really don't. There's nothing out there that tells me I think they can win.
I wouldn't think so. Sharif Ishak, WDSU. Let's talk about the Pels. Zion just finished his 100th game. I rolled through some stats at the end of hour one, some of the things that he has done over his first 100 games that the greatest to ever bounce a basketball have done. Your thoughts on where they are right now at this point in the season?
12-8 through 20 games, much better than 3-16 through 19 games.
For sure.
It'd be better than 3-16 sitting at 12-8. Hey, look, he did an awesome job last night of being aggressive and being the guy that needed to score and initiate the scoring and taking it to the basket. I mean, that's the first time I've seen him that aggressive, and he had to be with no BI and CJ out there. He had to be the primary scorer. and he did a very good job. I mean, to have the night he did, outstanding, and to add the 8-3 with it, look, I mean, he's only going to get better. If he stays healthy, he's only going to get better. It's just a shame he can't get any fouls called for him. He only shot one free throw and there's 44 seconds left in the game. That's a crime. That should not ever, ever happen to a guy who's going to the basket that much. He should get more than one free throw a game. He should be at least shooting 7 to 10 free throws a game the way he attacks the basket. But what he did last night is impressive. What he's done so far this season when he's on the court has been very impressive. And I think that if he does this without those two guys in the lineup, with them in the lineup, I think he's just going to open up even more for him.
Here's the credit to the Pels for the South Louisiana fan. The 2021 LSU football team, absolutely ravaged by injuries, skeleton unit by the end of the year, had a terrible year. And you turn around, Will Wade loses Adam Miller right before the season, Xavier Pinson gets hurt, and they really struggle to make up for it. The Saints last year and this year have been ravaged by injuries. The seasons have been shot. The Pels have gotten hurt a lot this year, and at least they're winning games.
Well, the thing is, it's not like anything serious. Knock on wood. It's nothing. It's like 3 games, 2 or 3 games for each player. Like C.J. McCollum is just sick. We just don't know what kind of sickness it is. It is a non-COVID illness, even though he's on the health and safety protocol list. It's just small injuries, which is a good thing. It is great that Brandon Ingram's injury is pretty much a bruise. That's an awesome news, especially since he had a toe injury he was dealing with last season. But yeah, they know how to respond. I mean, that's because they have Trey Murphy, 20 points last night. Herb Jones, I mean, he didn't have the greatest offensive night, but his defense is stellar last night on SGA. Yeah, he put up 31 points, but he shot 7 of 21. Without that type of performance from Herb, they don't win the game. Jose Alvarado running the point, and he plays with so much fire. To have him playing point guard with that much fire and energy, that really is infectious for the rest of the team. They have the bench. When they're healthy, they got Larry Nance, That is also another big key to this team, is Larry Nance, what he's been able to do at the rim and just absolutely punish on the boards.
The sad thing is around Baton Rouge, and we'll see if that's the case in New Orleans, is when a season kind of starts to go south a little bit, whether it's football, it creates a little basketball buzz. And if basketball in February kind of hits a lull, all of a sudden the baseball buzz will pick up a little bit because people are looking for the next chance for a winner. Is that happening in New Orleans right now with the Saints struggling and the Pels playing better early in the season?
Oh, there's no doubt. The crowd last night was pretty solid for a Monday night game against Oklahoma City. I mean, think about that. Last year, if this is, the same situation, ain't nobody sitting in that game. The stadium was looking really good, these home games, and they have a nice little situation here with quite a few home games coming up to make a run and make even more noise for the fan base. And yeah, the excitement is there. Saints are 4-8, Pelicans are 12-8, and only getting better. So the fans have certainly jumped on. They've been jumped on since last year when they made the run to close out the season, and now it's only growing and growing, and they're getting louder and louder. And you can tell by just the online and the social media tweets how just that continues to build an interaction. So, yep, it's only getting better for the Pelicans, and that's, some sort of great news for New Orleans considering where football is right now. But, hey, look, Tulane is doing well. They got a chance to win the conference championship on Saturday, playing it at home against.
And their coach isn't leaving right now. Is that a plus for that's got to be a plus for the Wave.
Awesome. I mean, he did so much. Willie Fritz he's a good dude. He's never rude to anybody. If you ask, everyone has been asking him about the job the last 2 days, and he's answered it, never shot anyone down. But yeah, it's great for them. He's built a winner here, man. This program was down and out when he came here, and now he has it playing for the Cotton Bowl Saturday. That's just fantastic news. And at 62 years old, I don't know if he really wanted to go to Georgia Tech. I know it's funny season, how things happen with coaching searches, but I mean, he's in a good place to continue winning here.
Thanks, Sharif. We'll do it next week.
Hey, I'm not mad about your video. I'm just mad that we lost the game. It was a great video, man.
I appreciate that. It worked really hard at that. Just totally off the cuff.
I know, it was awesome.
Made it work. All right, Sharif, we appreciate it. Thanks, man. He is Sharif Ishak, WDSU. I want to remind you, professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. You can download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com. Looking up at the scoreboard again, USA 1, Iran 0. They have played 81 minutes in Qatar. A little set-piece action for Iran. See, I'm not totally out on soccer. I know this is a set piece here. It's a free kick. We'll see what happens. He boots it up there into the box. That's not very good. It gets knocked out. That's great defense by the Stars and Stripes. You love to see it. We'll keep you updated on that and get you some Take It or Leave It. We come back after this on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Preview the SEC Championship game with Peter Burns, and Sean Salisbury stops by. Join us Tuesday, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Really fired up for tomorrow's show. Going to be locked and loaded from the start. We'll have J.D. Piquel from 1-3 Sports in his normal spot. Jordan D. Hill covers Georgia for Go Dogs 247. He'll be with us at 2 o'clock. We're going to get Luke Johnson moved up a day as well. And a preview, of course, LSU and Georgia. A significant amount, because I'm not going to be here on Thursday and Friday to do it. So I'm excited to do that a lot tomorrow. And then, of course, SEC Power Rankings. This will be the last one. The last Power Rankings for you to scream and yell at me. Probably not going to have LSU in the 2 spot this week either. But we'll see. To be determined. But a loaded show tomorrow. If you missed any of today's show, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com, Apple Podcast, on YouTube, Spotify. It is all there. You can search Hunt Palmer, and you can find all of it. Appreciate y'all hanging out with the Bayou Ford chat today. It's been a locked and loaded show. We opened things up talking LSU and Georgia. Specifically, what does Jaden Daniels have to do on Saturday to get this thing done? My thoughts on Hugh Freeze in the first hour as well. We chatted with Pete Futak of College Football News and Sharif Ishak of WDSU in the second hour. So lots to get to on today's show. If you missed any of it, you can catch it on demand. But one final thing to do today, and that is play Take It or Leave It.
Yeah, we'll start out with a little golf. You being a big supporter of Live Golf.
Yeah, huge.
Tiger Woods says the PGA Tour and Live Golf can coexist, but Greg Norman has to go. Take it or leave it.
Take it. I mean, I'm very rarely right. We've come to realize that. But I was right about this all along. It's not going anywhere because they have endless amounts of money. The Saudis are going to keep pumping the money into it to sports wash the money and enhance their reputation. And Greg Norman's intentions have been atrocious from the start. It's nothing to do with growing the game, nothing to do with improving golfers' lives. It has everything to do with destroying the PGA Tour for his massive ego. That's what Greg Norman is in it for. And if he leaves, when the PGA Tour realizes they don't have to deal with him anymore and they can coexist and try to make something work, they may. But Greg Norman is a disaster.
Deion Sanders, primetime himself, confirms he's been offered the Colorado job. Deion in Boulder, take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it. That just doesn't seem like the job, man. I mean, what is less glamorous and flashy than Colorado? It just doesn't have it. I mean, I know they won a national championship in my lifetime, but he can win 10 or 11 games at Jackson State every year if he wants to until, I mean, Florida State's not anywhere near calling him, but Florida State or Auburn or Texas A&M or Miami or one of these flashy, potential schools that has a ton of money and he can get in front of the cameras a lot. I realize he's got Barstool and he's doing all this stuff at Jackson State, which isn't exactly glitz and glamour, but that doesn't seem like the jump. And if you want to be sure you get a big-time Power 5 job, I think you got a better chance at rocking and rolling in Jackson than you do in going up to Boulder and not doing very well. And I think it would be very hard for me to believe that he would screw it up in Jackson. So I would stay.
Jeff Saturday forgot to call a timeout last night. Take it or leave it.
Did anybody see this? I'm going to take it.
Yeah, he had 2 left.
What are they doing? I mean, they hit a gain on second down. They got 45 seconds left, and all of a sudden they don't snap it until they got 25 seconds left, and they don't get the first down on that play either. That was real bad. And for all those that were saying Jeff Saturday didn't deserve this job and this is an outrage and this is ridiculous, feather in your cap last night because he screwed that up big time. And he's not out there game planning very much, I don't think. I think he's got a staff that's going to do that. He's kind of, he's leading men, as he said in his press conference. That was not leading him very well. Not at all.
Well, he led him to a loss.
He did.
Count that.
He did.
Qatari officials say the death count from this World Cup is between 400 and 500 people. This will be the last World Cup in the Middle East. Take it or leave it.
I never trust FIFA to do anything that's not related to being corrupt and taking money, but I'm going to take it. This is just a disaster. I mean, you cannot have hundreds of people dying trying to put this thing together. There have been a myriad of issues. Yeah, you can get it done because there's so much money, but there are only a few places on earth that can do this thing correct. Qatar is not one of them. So no more of that. Take it to places that actually know what they're doing and can handle the infrastructure and can put on an event and can keep people safe. Qatar ain't it. No good.
Bryce Harper recently had Tommy John surgery on his elbow. He will return as a DH around the All-Star break in 2023. The Phillies will not make the playoffs in 2023. Take it or leave it.
I'll probably take it. You figure the Mets are going to spend a bunch of money. The Braves are in great shape. Then you got to really fight if you're going to get 3 teams from one division. And so I think the Phillies probably won't. They had their one-hit wonder there, and they didn't quite get it done. So I will go ahead and take that one. That'll do it here for us on a Tuesday edition of Hunt and Hill. I want to remind you, I will be out at Plucker's Nicholson location tonight at 8:30. Sports trivia, gift cards, cold drinks, great food. We have a blast at 8:30 at the Nicholson location of Plucker's, so come on by. Last check from us on the soccer. They are in the they're in stoppage time right now, so about 3 minutes left to go. The United States of America leading by a score of 1-0. If the United States can hold on for a couple more minutes, they will move on to the knockout stage. All right, Jimmy Ott's Game Time coming at you from 6 to 8 this evening. Matt Moscona is going to drive you home next one after further review. We will see you tomorrow on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.